Thank you, Andrew, and hello. The first thing I'd like to say to you is that the referendum that's coming up, referendums don't come round very often in British politics, so you've got to seize the opportunity to pass your verdict on what we regard as a very unfair, very distorting first-past-the-post political system, and to go for the alternative option, which is on offer. It's the only alternative on offer, and it's called the alternative vote. If we turn it down now, the chance for progress in our voting system might be lost for another political generation. I've experienced that kind of thing in my own lifetime in Scotland. We shouldn't make the same mistake this time. The second thing I would say about this change, and it's important for the House of Commons, but it's important for you, the voter, it maintains the direct link between the voter and the elected Member of Parliament. That's crucial. And thirdly, don't be taken in by the arguments that you'll hear that it's oh so complicated. If you can count to 3, you can work the alternative vote.
All right, I'm going to have to stop you
Okay.
there. That's your minute, and we're keeping you to time. Your side argues that AV is fairer than the existing system.
Yeah.
But isn't the truth is it's the Lib Dems who stand to gain most? It's not fairness that you're after, it's self-interest.
If you look at any alternative, Andrew, to the present first-past-the-post system, inevitably the Lib Dems would gain, because first-past-the-post is so unfair where we're concerned. We don't benefit, if that's the way you want to look at it, from the alternative vote as much as we might, for example, under a system of proportional representation. This isn't our first preference, our preferred option. It's not purely proportional. We're not arguing that it is. It's not the panacea to all the country's ills, but it's better than what we've got.
All right, Charles Kennedy, thank you very much. Let's hear now the case against AV. Michael Howard, make your presentation.
Thank you, Andrew. On May the 5th, Britain faces an enormous choice about the future of our democracy. Much more than a choice between 2 voting systems. It's about a fundamental principle, the principle of one person, one vote. I'm clear that AV would be disastrous for our democracy for 3 crucial reasons. First, it's deeply unfair because some votes get counted more than others. Secondly, it's perverse because the candidate who comes 3rd or 4th can end up coming 1st. And thirdly, it's a totally discredited and unpopular system used by only 3 countries in the whole world. Here in Britain, we have a clear, decisive and effective system. It's the most widely used system in the world, and it's based on a simple principle: everyone should have a vote of equal value. The fact is, this referendum could have a large and disastrous impact on our democracy, and that's why I hope Britain says no to AV on May the 5th.
Thank you, Michael Howard. Isn't it true to say, though, that a lot of Conservatives are opposed to AV because you're almost nobody's second preference, and you would lose out most?
No, we're against it for the reasons that I've just given, and because AV is almost nobody's first choice as an electoral system. The last Labour government set up an independent electoral commission under the chairmanship of Roy Jenkins, the patron saint of electoral reform in this country. And this is what it had to say about AV. It said it was less proportional than first past the post, it was disturbingly unpredictable, and it was unacceptably unfair. Unacceptably unfair.
All right.
That's why I'm against it.
Okay, Michael Howard, thank you for that. And your opening statement, if you could go back to the podium. Let's first of all examine the central argument in this referendum, which is which voting system is fairer. Tessa Joe, you argue that AV means every vote counts, but under AV, some 3rd preferences will count just as much as somebody's first preference. Why is that fair?
Yes, I think this is an overstated criticism of AV because actually your first preferences are counted, the first preferences for a candidate are counted throughout the whole process. But why is this fairer? It's fairer because it's surely a good principle of democracy that an elected representative, a Member of Parliament, should be elected with at least 50% of the votes of those who turn out to elect them.
But it doesn't achieve that. What Tessa has just said, I'm afraid, just isn't true. It's only true if every voter uses all their preferential votes. And that doesn't often happen in Queensland, where they have an exactly similar system. In Australia, 60% of those who voted only used their vote once. And Professors Rawling and Thrasher, who are the great experts on all this, have shown that under AV, more than 4 out of 10 members of Parliament would have less than 50% of the votes.
But Michael, there's a counter-argument to what you've just said as well. As a first-past-the-post man, first-past-the-post doesn't allow, obviously, for any other system than you, me, Tessa, Andrew, whoever, casting one vote an X. That's all we can do. Under the alternative vote system, if that's what you think is such an important principle to maintain, you just vote once. You don't have to use all these subsequent votes.
Fine, but then you can't make the argument that AV guarantees that every member of Parliament has more than 50% of the vote. That is absolutely not true.
Well, we would move beyond a position at the moment, Michael, where 66% of members of Parliament are elected with less than 50% of the vote.
Let me ask you this, Tessa Jowell, because a lot of people are supporting AV because they believe it to be more proportionate than the first-past-the-post system. Do you accept that it can actually produce less proportionate results? That if AV had taken place in 1987, the Tory landslide would have been even bigger, the Labour landslide of 1997 would have been even bigger, and that these were already disproportionate, and AV could make them more disproportionate?
I think it's very important to